Alrighty, surface area. So this is prior knowledge. You learned this in grade 7 or 8. So we're just going to do a quick review. So first things first is you have to know how to find area of a triangle, and that is 1/2 base times height. Or you can also have it as base times height divided by 2. Okay, so here is a triangular prism. It's a prism because the sides come up at 90 degrees, and it's a triangular prism because the base is a triangle. So let's first calculate the triangular prism. So the triangular piece is a 6 by 8. So again, this is 6 times 8 divided by 2. So that is 48 divided by 2 is 24. And because this is a prism, the base triangle and the top triangle are the same, so that means there's 2 of them. So that means the corresponding area is 48. Now here's where it differs between rectangular prisms. There's usually only one rectangle, like there's usually 3 different rectangles because the triangle is not an equilateral triangle. Sometimes if the triangle is an isosceles triangle, you can have 2 rectangles that are the same. But for the most part, you can basically just assume that the 3 rectangles wrapped around the triangle is different. So this is a 10 by 4, which is a 40, a 6 by 4, which is a 24, and an 8 by 4, which is a 32. If I add that all up, I get 144 square centimeters. So pretty easy. Same kind of concept that we did before, except it has a different base. All right, so let's try this. Just so you know, sometimes they don't give you the third side, and you may have to calculate that using Pythagorean theorem. So the triangle is a 9 by 12. If I calculate the area of 1, that would be 9 by 12 divided by 2, which is basically 9 times 6, which is 54. I don't like that part. So then, because there's 2 of them, we are going to double it, and we get 108. Then we have, and again, it doesn't matter which rectangle you are doing this by. There's a 15 by 5, a 12 by 5, and a 9 by 5. So the 15 by 5 would give you 75. The 12 by 5 would give you 60. The 9 by 5 would give you 45. If you add this all up, you get 288 square centimeters. All right, so then we go into cylinders. Cylinders are basically 2 circles with a rectangle wrapped around it. Now then, the particular thing about a cylinder is the rectangle, the length is actually the circumference of the circle. So you need to actually find the circumference using 2 times pi times r, or some of you may recall if it has a diameter, you can use pi times d. It's up to you. But all these formulas you should have somewhere handy. All right, let's try the surface area of a cylinder. So area of a circle is pi r squared. You should be using the pi button in your calculator, so locate that. Do not use 3.14. All the answers will be with the pi button. So again, locate the pi button on your calculator. Usually you can see it right away, or it might be a second function. So if I punch that in, I get pi times 3 squared, and you can punch that directly in. You get 28.3, and then if you double that, you get 56.6. Now I want to make you aware that if you round before the final answer, sometimes your answer might be just slightly off. So it depends on the textbook whether they actually round and then round again. As a pre-cal teacher, I always say you shouldn't round to the final answer, because otherwise it's compounding more and more error as you go. So for simplicity in grade 9, I'm going to take this answer round it there and just double it. So for the rectangle, we have the circumference, which is right here, which is, again, 2 times pi times r, which is 2 times pi times 3. I usually calculate that first, and I get 18.8. So then I know the actual length of the rectangle. And then, of course, a rectangle is just going to be 18.8 times the width here, which is 5. And then I get 94. Add them up, and I get 150.6 square centimeters. Okay, so why don't you try the next example on your own. If you want, you can pause the video. Okay, so radius is 4. Sometimes they give you the diameter, so watch that. You might have to take the diameter and divide by 2 to get the radius. So this would be pi times 4 squared, which gives me 50.3. And then I'm just going to cross that off. I get 100.6 for 2 of them, because the top and the bottom. And again, the length of this rectangle is the circumference, which is 2 times pi times r, which is 25.1. And that's a length of 6, or a height of the cylinder is 6. I take that and I multiply the 2 together. Who cares about that? I get 150.6. I add it up. I get 251.2 square centimeters. And that is triangular prisms and cylinders.